Hi everyone, it's Arsh Ellahi, and in today's video we're talking about a question that lots of you have been asking on my recent videos. Is now the right time to buy? And I thought I'd address this in today's session. So first of all, quick hello to all the people that have subscribed to the channel. It's increasing weekly and I want to say thank you for that. Thank you for all the positive messages saying that you really like the shall we call it real talk of what's going on in the UK property market. More importantly, if you're watching this for the first time, there's a subscribe button or a notification button right on the bottom corner there. Please feel free to press it and press the notification bell every time I release a video. It'll notify you that something's happening. So let's get straight into it. Lots of you have messaged on previous videos, have also messaged us and said, guys, is this now the right time to buy? Should I hold off or what should I do? Or some people are even saying, I'm in the process of buying, should I back out? Right. Let's address this, and you have to think about this in a few different ways. So first thing I will say, here's my little disclaimer that this is not deemed as financial advice. This is literally just my opinion, and if you are looking to buy, I would suggest that you go and get professional financial advice from an IFA, independent financial advisor. So that's all the T's and C's sorted. Right, if I look down below, it's just because I've got a load of notes because this is a lot of stuff to try and remember within such a short period of time. So let's break this down into certain segments. So if you're already buying a property, so when we're talking about this, let's just say that you've already agreed a deal prior to lockdown, prior to COVID-19, and let's just say that you're buying it at circa £100,000. And let's keep numbers quite simple. And if you were buying this as your own home, and you've got a, let's say 85 or 90% loan to value mortgage, which means that on a £100,000 purchase, the mortgage company is going to lend you circa £90,000. Now, again, this is not a financial advice, but personally, I would say carry on with it. The reason why I say carry on with it is because mortgage companies have pulled away all those products from the market. So if you've got an existing mortgage offer, they will honour that mortgage, but you don't want it to linger on for too long. The longer we stay in this stagnant space, the chances are that the mortgage company will say, well, guys, okay, we gave you that offer when the market was good. Now the market's starting to see a bit of change, and therefore we may need to readdress our terms. And that mortgage offer may reduce from 90% lending down to circa 70% lending. I'll go on to that shortly. So my first tip to you is that if you've got a property that you're buying and you're looking to live in it yourself, and you've got a high loan to value mortgage offer, take it, because there is no other mortgage offers out there like that at the moment. So if you decide to pull away from the property, first of all, yes, you can find another property, you might be cheaper, but second, and probably the most important thing, is that you may not be able to afford it. And I say may not be able to afford it just purely because if the new mortgages that are coming out to circa 70% loan to purchase means that you're now going to need a 30% deposit. My question is, have you got that 30% deposit? If you have, then great. If you haven't and you've only got the 5 or 10%, then stick with what you've got. Because if you don't, that means that you're going to have to either rent or do whatever you're doing at the moment, whether you're renting, whether you're staying with parents, or whether you're lodging with other people. That's what you'll have to do. And there's no time scale as to when the market will recover. It could take a couple of months. It could take a year. It could take 2 years. You know, when I look at things like this, I try and predict what's going to happen over the next 24 months. So you've got to ask yourself the question, are you comfortable with sitting it out over the next 24 months? Not saying that products won't come back on the market within 24 months, but that's just something that's the time frame that I would work on. So if you're already buying, great. Now, if you haven't already bought and you're looking to buy, you may, and I suggest that again, this is a great time to watch what's going on. So in Zoopla, you've got lots of tools there which shows you how much the property came on for. So let's just say property came on prior to COVID at £100,000. In Zoopla, there's actually a tool that shows you if the property has dropped and by how much, not only as a monetary term, but also as a percentage. So if it came on in January at, let's say, £100,000, now off the back of that, it could have dropped by 10,000 already. So it could now be 90,000 or equivalent to 90%. So taking a 10% drop. So you can watch that and you can think, okay, that's interesting. and you can watch it again. Now, there is a risk that you may miss the opportunity. Someone might come in and say, oh, okay, to be fair, I like the fact that I've got a 10% drop already. I'm happy with that. I don't mind if the market fluctuates slightly, but I'm happy with a 10% reduction already, and they're going to purchase a property. So there is, Zoopla is a fantastic indicator showing you what's going on and how much properties have been dropping on. And here's a little tip for you. If you've got a certain area, now I'm not saying that you come to Wolverhampton because that's my patch, but let's just say that you've got another area, let's say Luton. And what you could do in Zoopla, you could put up all kinds of parameters. So you could say that I'm looking for a 3-bed house, my price bracket is circa 150 to 200,000 pounds. And what you could do, you could set up an email alert. So you create an account with Zoopla, very simple to do, it's free to do. And you create an email alert so that every time a property comes on or every time a property gets reduced, we actually get an email notification. Now, I've set up this for loads of places around the country. So I get hundreds of emails every day. I've actually set up a dedicated email address just for these. And so what we do, my team look at it and say, oh, okay, this has dropped by 15% or this has dropped by 10%. And then we have a look to see where it is historically. And if it's gone from 100,000 now to 80,000, surely that's going to show some pain and motivation by the vendor. So there's a little deal sourcing tip for you as well. I'm throwing them all out there today. Just remember that all these videos are one takes. So there is no edits or any magic or any editing that goes on. So if you're not buying, it's a good time to watch. Now, one of the things that I would say is that as a key indicator as to understanding what's going on, mortgage companies are not stupid. They will not offer a mortgage product on a property knowing that the property is going to potentially reduce in value. Does that kind of make sense? Why would they lend on an asset that was worth 100,000 but is potentially going to be worth 80,000 in a couple of months' time? So if you notice, the first thing they did, they said, you know what, guys, out the market, I'm taking all the mortgage products out of it, anything above circa 70%. Why do you think they did that? They're expecting a 20% reduction. So even at 70%, they're still covered. Does that kind of make sense? So if the property value was 100,000 originally, and they were previously lending 90% if you're a home buyer or 75% if you're an investor, they were lending 75% of the value of the property. Now they're thinking, well, hang on, if the prices drop, we're going to have to readjust our lending accordingly. So what they've done, they said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll pull all our products out of the market initially. Let's watch the market. Let's see what happens. Off the back of that, when they see some activity, when they see that the market is pretty much reduced and to a point where it's acceptable, circa around 20%, judging on what happened in 2007, 2008, these guys will now come back in the market and they'll start to introduce their new products. That's how the mortgage markets work. They're not going to literally lend you more than what the property's worth, because let's face it, every lender would be insolvent. They would have been over leveraged on the property value, which means that technically speaking, you guys could just literally walk away and say, hey, repossess me, okay, I've lost my money, but you guys are going to take a hit as well. That's not how it works. They're far wiser than that. And the reason why I say that is because they learned a lot of lessons in 2007 and 2008. Today's session feels like a bit of a rant. Believe it or not, it's not. It's an educational video, as they say. So, tip number one, if you're buying, keep buying. Tip number two, if you're not buying, watch the market, set up your email alerts. Tip number three, watch the mortgage market. And the way that you could do this is literally, there are lots of websites out there, again, and I won't list them, but there are lots of websites out there, again, which you can set up email notifications to say which lenders have now come back in the market. So there's lots, if you Google mortgage providers and loan to values, you'll see that lots of them are now pretty much a maximum of 70%, even if you're a home buyer. So if you're a home buyer now and you're looking to buy a property, chances are that you're going to need circa 20 to 30% deposit. Now, the question is, have you got that? Can you afford that? That's quite a large deposit. So if you're looking to buy a property, and again, if it's around £100,000, have you got a £20,000 to £30,000 deposit? Because this is what they're asking of you. And the reason why they're asking this of you is because they're saying, guys, okay, we'll lend to you. It's a lower amount, but it's because we're expecting a correction in the marketplace. Now, I will talk about estate agents. Now, estate agents do a fantastic job. There is no doubt about that. However, what they are having to do now is talk up the market. They're trying to push confidence back into the market. They are busy at the moment. Naturally, they've got an 8-week backlog of inquiries to go through. And what they're trying to do is try and push sales through prior to COVID prices. Now, that may happen for a few. Whether they get valued up or not is a complete different question. We can all agree to buy something for £100,000. Whether the surveyor thinks it's worth £100,000 is a different question. Now, the next thing I would say is that you've got to remember that there's lots of comments been out there at the moment, like people like Savills, etc., that is suggesting that the market's only dropped 3 to 4%. They're saying that it's on average dropping by around £4,000 a month. Now, when you look at that, we've got to look at historic data. Everyone else is saying that we're pushing into recession. Now, off the back of that, recession is no good for anyone. It's not good for house sales. It's not good for the economy. It's not good for anyone. So therefore, the property market is trying to keep talking it up and saying, guys, we're still doing business. But the reality is that, people are still in furlough. The reality is that there's no job security, because when we come out of furlough, there's no security so that the employers are going to keep them on. Off the back of that, watch the previous video, what I talked about how the economy is going to bounce back out of this. Off the back of that, it's whether they've got the affordability to get mortgages. If they can't get mortgages, houses aren't going to sell. Houses aren't going to sell. What's going to happen to estate agencies? They're going to take a loss of income. So naturally, they're trying to talk it up. The reality is we are going to get a 20 to 30% drop, and we work off historic data of circa 2007 and 2008, which is the best part of 10 years ago. Now, finally, if you're a cash buyer, you're in a win-win situation. The reason why I say that is because you can go and you can make offers like you wouldn't believe. So a house that was 100,000 before, there's nothing stopping you from making an offer circa 60 to 70% of that, so circa 60,000 to 70,000. The way that I see it is that in these kind of markets, it is a buyer's market. You've got the power, which means that if you see an opportunity, you say, guys, I tell you what, I've got 60 grand here, want it, take it or leave it. What's the worst that they can say? Sorry guys, we can't afford to accept 60 grand. And then your negotiation starts. If you start high, there's no coming down. If you start low, there's always room for manoeuvement. So that's definitely something to think about, and that's the position that I'm in. I'm going to be going out there as a cash buyer. I'm going to say, guys, okay, you've got the opportunity. This is what I'm looking to offer. It's either a take it or leave it process. There is no real negotiation. I'll put my best foot forward, and that's it. So we'll see lots of properties, opportunities come available. We'll see lots of commercial opportunities come available. We'll see lots of properties that were previously on the market prior to COVID come available. If you're already a member of the Property Investor app, we're putting up deals at circa 30 to 40% discount already. And we're literally a month out of lockdown. Well, we're not out of lockdown technically, but we're pretty much a month back into work. And so we're seeing a massive change in the market. We're seeing a lot more buyers come out and say, guys, okay, I've got some cash. I've been waiting for this. This is now my time. What have you got? So if you're a cash buyer, fill your boots is all I'll say, because this is the opportunity that you're waiting for. They don't come along very often, but when they do, you've got to capitalise on it. If you're a mortgage buyer, keep speaking to your brokers. If you're currently buying, keep going. That's the three things that I've really got to touch on today. So guys, hopefully you've enjoyed that video. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask them below and I'll answer as many as I can. More importantly, if you want to catch me on social media, you can catch me on Facebook, you can catch me on Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter under the name Arsh Ellahi. Or if you want to listen into more content, I have actually released a weekly podcast and it's called The Property Rebel. You can find it on iTunes, you can find it on Spotify, you can find it on Google Play Store, as well as SoundCloud and Stitcher. And then finally, if you are looking for property deals and you want to find the best deals in the UK, why don't you download the Property Investor app? It's completely free to do so. You can go to www.propertyinvestораpp.co.uk, or you can actually just go to the App Store, whatever mobile phone you have, whether you've got an Apple iPhone or whether you've got an Android phone, and literally go to the App Store and type in Property Investor. Download it, register it, takes you approximately 2 minutes, and you'll see approximately 200 deals right in the palm of your hand. So there we have it, guys. Hopefully you've taken a lot of notes from that, and hopefully you've started to think about the market in a slightly different way. But on that note, if you've got any questions, ask below, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Bye-bye.